Marina, I'm so excited to have you with us and to be able to share what you do and how you coach folks. I know we're going to talk about mental resilience and building that up. I'm sure we can all use a heavy dose of that, whether, yeah. So, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what brought you into the leadership space?
I have a degree in organizational psychology, and my diploma was dedicated for the management of organizational culture. And when you have a degree in psychology, you need to create a math model that prove your concept. And at that period, it was more than 15 years ago. It was not so popular to speak about organization and management through the organizational culture. Later, then all this tech company became leaders. It became more popular and more common. And in that period, I deeply understand that everything that's going on and happening in the organization about the people, the source of it is the founder of the organization and co-founders in this organization, and some subcultures that leaders typically create in their space, their department, their team, etc. And during all my career, part of my career, where I spent in huge technological companies as a head of talent development, and in technological companies is the same like investment, because the only one thing that you have is your employees, their innovative way of thinking, their intelligence, their competences. And all the tech and innovative companies, they don't have anything besides that. They have computers, okay, probably some data centers, and of course, in employers. It will be interesting probably to speak about it a little bit. Uh, all this news that Meta, OpenAI, Google, they hiring AI employers for 100 million per year, or all this stuff, and it's absolutely changing the scenario of your career success. Because previously, if you would like to be a rich, wealth, and powerful person, you should become a CEO, or I don't know, whatever it is, somebody in C-level, in the board member level. But right now, you just can be a very good and high quality professional in something pretty innovative. And it's really interesting. So coming back to your question, I deeply understand that it is impossible to provide any change in organization without understanding what leadership it is and what leaders are doing in this space. So that's how I came to this.
You mentioned that we're not always taught that certain areas are profitable for us, right? And people do go into sales. I've seen a lot of folks go from marketing to sales or back and forth. So definitely have seen and observed that and resonated that with that. When it comes to the sort of navigating the agility and AI readiness, you're doing a lot of work with that, I understand. And everybody company that I have come in contact with or individual, they're all at some degree a different place when it comes to incorporating and integrating AI. And at the same time, AI has been around for a lot longer than we might be giving it credit for.
Okay.
Many, many decades now at this point, right? So I think it's something that is a hot topic, but we haven't actually realized how much it has been affecting our life. So now that it is becoming embedded almost in the same way that electricity is a day to day technology that we're using, right? How are we able to identify if we're ready for a fuller integration of AI and what it looks like on the team level and the individual level?
Artificial intelligence exists in our life much more longer when all of us are thinking about it. I mean, it appeared long before OpenAI. For example, the same models we had for, I don't know, picture search in Google or whatever it is. Not totally the same, but pretty close. And how we can understand that we're really ready to their AI integration. So it is an amazing question, because we right now in all over the world have several scenarios of future models of organization. Because in general, I read very interesting research that was conducted by British scientists or something like that about the future skills models and what countries are ready to the future through the AI and beyond. And they provided several parameters. It was something like infrastructure, technological industry, educational accessibility, and everything around it. And they started with that. We right now have two main scenarios. One of them, one of the scenarios in those countries where we have pretty good economy, good access to the education, some developed technological industry, the very important thing about this countries that most of them are not becoming younger. I mean, the general population, and that probably we need to change an approach for education and focus on adaptive skills of these countries, because as elder you're becoming, as slower your neuroplasticity process becoming, and it's a little bit more difficult to integrate some absolutely new mindset. I mean, it's physiologically more complicated. And another group of countries where we have younger population and they have, for example, 5 kids per one family. It's not European Union or United States, as you can understand. It's more African countries or some another one. That they have another situation. They don't have an access to the great infrastructure, to the educational processes, and not all these regions they have access to the internet. What are we speaking about AI here? And that we need absolutely another strategy in these countries. Also, the situation that's going on right now in the market, it's dramatically different. I mean, because the change happening every time, everywhere, and with a dramatic speed. And if, for example, in the previous tech revolution, then internet and technologies started to develop fastly, we have some time. I mean, we started with the tech industry, with the tech companies, we saw the amazing grow, and then step by step, industry by industry, we developed innovation. And even more conservative and classy industries like manufacturing or something like this, they have a space where we can learn and some practices from the market, from another industries, and understand how we can. It is not only only about buy some software, integrate it in your business process. It's absolutely not about it, because it's more about your people. Because oh my god, I worked so many times with different organizations and this period. And I think this is some kind of my magic skill to support company during the change phase, because I feel pretty comfortable during the change phase, and I know how you can make your people to accept it with more, patience and with some kind of inspiration for the future. So coming back to this point, we saw so many fantastic things how people sabotaged it in their workplace. I mean, they switch off the software, they didn't use it, they broke it, they integrate some mistakes there because their processes is much more familiar with them. And also they really have this fear that, for example, I don't know, this e-commerce systems will replace us or something like that. And this is the most important part. But in spite of it, in that period, we have some time where we can learn practices from the tech companies, how we can develop organizational culture, how we can implement some tech departments, etc. Right now, we don't have this time. And answering for your question, how we can understand, I right now develop an AIQ model, the framework that measure an AI readiness and readiness of the teams and company with AI integration through the human approach, because we right now have a lot of different frameworks who measure in about your infrastructure, your business processes, of course, everything that you need to build it, to integrate it, but not the people. And in my opinion, and some science research really, prove that my opinion is correctly, that people adaptation for this is the main obstacle, much more stronger than, for example, some software, hardware, data centers, some sources of energy, and all this stuff. And we right now researching several directions here. First and main, this is your adaptability skills. And I even created some theorem. We have Homo sapiens, and I think that Homo, the next generation, is Homo adaptive. How soon you can to adapt for everything that's going on around you, all the change. And this competence is most important because without that, it will be pretty difficult to find yourself in new era, new economy, new scenario, because everything that's going on right now, it absolutely, we didn't have this experience before. I mean, your career can change dramatically during your life. Previously, it felt like I need to have a great education. I need to join a powerful company and just growing up and develop my career there. Right now, it's absolutely normal. Then you're thinking about, okay, so I will work before 30 in this area, then probably I will become a designer, then probably I will become, I don't know who, I will start to cook, or I will start to make some kind of science research. And with the AI, it is really possible, because the main thing that you need is to understand how to integrate your skills with this huge database because you have an access for this. You should waste of time and looking for this. And you need to understand how to organize your integration with artificial intelligence. And this is the most important part of it. Another aspect, of course, is your AI literacy. What do you know about what's going on in the AI market? How familiar you're with all the tools that this market can provide? And it's really easy to understand. Where are you? What is your skills? What are you able to do? Another direction, and this is right now another obstacle in integration, is your ability to think strategically and understand those things that I'm doing right now with AI. This is really help my business to develop. It's really bring us some profit, some results that we're expecting, or we just playing in it. And for example, I'm spending the same hours trying to make ChatGPT gave me those information that I asked instead of write this letter by my own or something like this. And this is still not counting. I mean, we still don't have enough data to make some correlation here, and this is very important. Another aspect, of course, this is the ethical regulation, and you also should be pretty open to the fact that probably some legal system around it, some ethical system around it will change, and as more tools will integrate to our reality, this change can be really more unexpected and become some kind of the legal regulation. And we also need to understand how it will change and predict it probably. And another thing, and it's a little bit surprising and not typical, but this is your emotional intelligence. As why it is important, in my opinion, and we found a lot of research who approve it, but your ability to understand your emotions, this is your access to a very important part of information that your body can read from the outcome and external events that are happening around you. And on the previous season of business reality, we have some values that it doesn't matter. Stay focused, be cold, just be result orientative, and ignore your emotions in the workspace. It is not about be unable to manage your emotion and, for example, crying without reason or something like that. Of course, no. It's about your ability to be very sensitive for some specific signals that you feel, or if you're a leader, it's even more important that you feel in your team. This analysis of all these signals, it make you able to for the pretty fast decision making, and that's what you always also need in this period to be pretty fast in decision making and understand what's going on and intuitively feel it where you need to bring your team or in what direction you should develop. And last thing that I would like to say here, just give you some case and example. Everyone have a relationship with artificial intelligence, our personal relationship. For example, I will ask you a question. How do you feel? What are you using typically? OpenAI, Perplexity, Claude. What is yours, friends in this field?
Yeah, all of the above. All of those that you mentioned, I've used all of them. And then any of the AI that's integrated in the platforms that we were using and what else could I add? Read AI. I mean, Riverside has its own AI integration as well. I think there are some platforms that I don't even realize that I'm using it at this point.
Okay. Do you feel that the language and your relationship with different artificial intelligence tools on different platforms are different? I mean, does it same for you or different?
In like how I talk and interact with it or
Well, how you feel it?
how I use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely I have different intentions with how I'm using something like Perplexity, it's for research. For something like Claude, I'm using it for copy and marketing ideas or ChatGPT. They help me take all of my notes and organize my thoughts. So for me, it's very helpful in eliminating some of the tedious tasks that I have in my day to day versus something like Riverside, where I'm using it to scan and scrape through my content and then generate short form pieces of content from a larger long form podcast like this.
Uh, do you feel that this platform have some kind of different character or different, emotional connection with you?
Well, no, I don't think the platform has an emotional connection with me because it's
Yeah,
not
I understand. I mean, do you feel some difference when you communicate?
in terms of like how I emotionally would approach the platform. No, I try to see it as a tool and a piece of technology
Mhm.
and keep the emotion out of it. Probably because I remember years ago watching the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix. And
Yeah.
yeah, I actually watched it again recently a couple weeks ago and I thought, wow, people can be really tied up in their AI and see it as an actual companion of some kind. So for me, it's being really intentional with how I'm using it and not letting it be the thinker or the creative brain for me, but letting it help me piece together or format the things that I need help with in terms of speed and agility or quickly pulling information from the internet and scanning. So maybe I'm a little bit different. Maybe I'm like a lot of people. I don't know. You tell me. But for me, I see it as I think too being in the millennial generation, and seeing all the technology that came up around us, I want to see how I can use it to enhance myself and what I'm doing as a human being. I want to be really cautious that it's being used in an ethical way, whether it's me personally or my team. And on the other side of that, I also want to make sure that I'm not dependent on AI. I'll share a story actually I saw. Um, Someone posts recently that ChatGPT was down and they couldn't move forward with their work. And it made me really concerned in that moment because, first of all, if ChatGPT is down, there are plenty of other options and AI platforms that you can go to get that kind of task done if you need AI for something like that. But secondly, the task itself was something that it should not be AI dependent. It should be a skill set you already are able to possess. And so I think my concern is that as much as I love and advocate for using AI, that we become so dependent on it that it replaces our ability to think critically and creatively and be able to move forward in our work. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or any science and research that can explain what I've experienced or been going through.
So I will tell you that different people have absolutely different relationship with artificial intelligence. For example, for me, this is something like a really good employee. I mean, with some disadvantages, of course, but pretty good because all the tasks they provided all day long, they just given me everything that I need without something like, oh, I can do it right now, probably later, or I don't know what. Some of the people around me, they're becoming something like supportive coach for lonely people, I suppose, and this is the example about the movie that you gave us here, Sure, because this is not about artificial intelligence. It is about him, about the person who lonely because it was pretty difficult for him to develop relationship with the real people, and this is about this aspect as well, in my opinion. My idea here is that all of us have absolutely different scenarios of our connection with artificial intelligence, and later, then you coming back to the job, for example, and you're working with a team, and each member of your team bringing their own relationship with AI to this workspace. And also, you need to create something in general, something that will familiar to you. And for example, let's just picture this. You, me, and some another person, we are making something together. And you're thinking about like about a tool, and you, okay, give me this, this, and this. What is this? Check this list, make the resource, that's it. And your coworker's saying, Becca, why are you not writing something like thank you, or can you please provide in this thing? Because this is sensitive thing. Or probably in the future, and they will have a conscience. He will find you and say and give you some revenge, and will say, Rebecca, he wasn't polite with me, or something like that. And this is absolutely a new aspect of relationship in the workspace, and that's why, in my opinion, emotional intelligence is one of the main things that necessary for the leaders in all the team to understand how I can manage this relationship and create some productive but safe space for everybody in this new scenario of communication.
That's a great thing to keep in mind for everybody. I would hope as leaders we have that kind of emotional intelligence, but not everybody does. And so at least having the self awareness that we need to exercise that and practice that. Sounds like, too, if you are trying to assess the readiness of your team for AI, and as you pointed out, it's a change management, right? Because it's an immense amount of change and you have to be able to help people navigate through that. It sounds like the CEO or the founder, whomever is leading the company, needs to already be ready for that change. So are you working with people who are leading teams that are ready themselves, or are you helping them also prepare for that because maybe they have some hesitations and restraints around using AI for themselves or the company at large, and they're coming to you to help make sure their team is ready. But I imagine there could still be some hesitation, or maybe just some education that they need in how to do that. So how are you working with the owners, the founders to ready themselves and their team for that AI use and integration?
I got it, got it. It is really a great question. I read interesting research not so long time ago that 87% of the respondents, they reported that they ready for AI integration. In fact, after some more deeper research, they found that only 12% are really ready. It was not only about some soft skills; it was more about hard skills, about your AI literacy and etc. But also for some aspect that about adaptability that I mentioned earlier. It's not about the readiness, it's about the initiative. I mean, entrepreneurs and business owners, they're typically more flexible and more resilient for the change, and they feel much more comfortable during the change phases. We right now have pretty interesting research that demonstrate that entrepreneurs have a little bit different brain if we will compare it with non-entrepreneurs or with the people who never have been entrepreneurs. And this aspect to go in some unknown territory, to be open to the risk, etc., this is more typical for the entrepreneurs. Also, for them, it's typically become much more obvious, this big future picture. And it's not a problem for them because they want to jump on this big future picture. And one of the aspects behind all this is the more sensitive dopamine system and some other interesting aspects, but we're not about it. The main thing that, in my opinion, pretty important, and this is more typical because, of course, different clients come in with a different request. But the thing that is more common for everybody is that you, like a leader, need to understand that probably your employers need more time than you to understand how they are living right now. And again, it is not about skills. Just one of the feedback from one of my clients' employer that I'm right now able to do for 2 or 3 days same things that half a year ago I made for 2 or 3 months, and this is insane. I mean, I just need to recreate all my processes and my identification of myself with what speed I'm working, what results I'm able to provide, who I am, what power I have, what can I do. The dynamic of this change, it can be a little bit different for all your team members. The first thing, you just need to give a time for the people to understand where they are right now, and to provide pretty clear picture for them what's going on, what will be. It is familiar. It is the same for all the change. Another thing here is that you, like a business owner and like a leader, you really need to understand that you also don't live in the same scenario right now, and dynamic of your team can be absolutely another. Probably your own place in your organization also can change because it depends on your culture. It depends on how the thing is going. But this is the most complicated thing for a lot of leaders as well. And this is another topic for the conversation. Who is more open to the change? Middle management, C-level management, business owner of the small businesses, Series A, or even there were successful entrepreneurs who have the unicorn or something like that. A little spoiler: C-level and the unicorn owners, it's more difficult for them to change their mindset because that's what brought him to success, him or her, doesn't matter, to success. So, and the last interesting thing here, there is a correlation between the level of the expectation and the results of AI integration. And as higher your expectation, as lower will be the results. And this is what's very important to understand for all the business leaders. You need to give some space for your team where they can just play with this little bit. Just don't have a high level of your expectation that, pressure on them. Because this is the fastest way to learn something new. Don't take it too serious and don't expect some results. Because only when we are playing, we are doing it for the process, not for results. Biochemistry of this process is a little bit different, and we are enjoying the process in the same level, like we're enjoying the results. Help us to be much more motivated to be in this process and to continue to learn it and to continue to try it. And this is pretty interesting. To summarize, give some time for your team, and probably they need more time than you need for this. Another thing, be open that even your role can change dramatically in your business and in your team if you're a leader. And the last thing, please keep in your mind the level of the expectation is your enemy, not your friend here. And for the first task, just create something interesting, something that's not pretty influential for the work processes. Nothing like, okay, we're taking OpenAI and we need to increase our income for 2 times for the month. Go. It will not work in those ways that you expect it. Start with something like, for example, okay, guys, let's just think how we can recreate our product presentation. Everyone can try to do it, make some video, create this scenario, create some persona model and make it speak and alive using the, I don't know, Google tools, etc. And just let's see what will happen at the end and who will make the better video clip. I don't know. Something pretty easy, but that will help your people to involve in it. And that is more important, to do something together, do something creative together. And the results of integrations will be much faster. So
I love that. It makes me think of we do hackathons at my company, something I started a couple years ago, and it's a great way for teams to come together, problem solve, and great way to start implementing some of that technology too. So I love the perspective of playing with it and not letting expectations dictate the experience that we're meant to have right now as we're prepping and using AI in our businesses. Marina, this has been fabulous. You've given me way more information than I ever thought that we could get on being ready for AI. I want to make sure that, thank you. I can tell that you are a knowledge and wealth of wisdom when it comes to how to not only understand it for ourselves, but for our teams and be able to integrate it successfully. and use it and have fun with it too. I think it can be quite fun and seeing how we can use it to enhance what we do. All of that said, I know you're a great coach and able to help support business owners and teams as they navigate through this change. Where would you like them to reach out to you to connect and be able to work with you?
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for this opportunity. So the first thing, you can find me LinkedIn, Marina Morgan, San Francisco. Also, via my website, you can request free introduction session there, morganimpact.com, like Morgan was my last name, and impact, some impact that I hope to bring to your organization and to your business. And also, please keep in touch and listen to Amazing Rebecca's podcast, and you will find not only me, but all another guests there. I hope to see you.
Marina, this is fabulous. You're welcome back anytime because I know AI is just going to keep changing and helping us do what we do best. So I'm excited to follow you in your journey. I hope everybody you will connect with Marina and enjoy more to come with what we have in the AI and the tech space. But until then, thank you all for listening to Bad Bosses, Great Leaders podcast. And thank you, Marina, for being an awesome, awesome guest.
Thank you so much.